This legend analysis was actually voted by you guys. It wasn't much of a competition, actually. Sorry, Jaehyun. But if you want to vote in these types of polls more often, join my Discord server. There's all sorts of shenanigans going on over there. On to the actual video though. Since Jaehyun wasn't the winner in this landslide competition, we're covering over the Spectral Guardian themselves, or I suppose themselves? Magyar. Magyar's got a whole lot of interesting tidbits about them. A lot of stuff that will likely be covered later in the video, but if not, I'll throw it in right here. Did you know they were teased before their official announcement in the Welcome to Brawlhalla animated short? There was a lot of overanalyzing in this shot in general, some people thinking Teen Titans would make a crossover appearance. We've got Jiro, Scarlet, Mako, Volkov, Roland, Bryn, Sentinel, Jaehyun, even Boomer showed up. Sorry, now I'm overanalyzing, but Magyar being teased this way was so cool. Maybe we need a full analysis on this trailer alone? They were the third Greatsword legend at this time and stood out quite significantly not just for their stat lineup, which we'll dive into later, but their signature kit. Most of our legends before Magyar were humans, animals, robots, or other living things like Korv, Rax, Onyx, and even Rayman. You could tell in their signature kit that this isn't your average run-of-the-mill legend. Greatsword Insig is the biggest example of this, where the souls pop out of Magyar shooting upwards and encases the enemy into a hit. The most stylish sig on Magyar by far, and I'm dare to say it's even his best Greatsword sig. You get some great airtime from using this, and coming back to stage has never been easier when being edge-guarded. Seriously. It's just so cool. All of his other sigs are too, of course, but we'll get there. I also found this while messing around with it, and cool. Greatsword Side Sig isn't his worst sig, it's not his best, it's just solid all around, I'd say. It can be a bit finicky if you don't know how it works, luckily my level 46 Magyar says otherwise. I can't really even explain how to use it, it's just kind of one of those sigs that you need to use yourself to really understand how it works. It's still pretty nice. And then we have Greatsword Down Sig, and this one actually is not as great. Although, of course, I've found a way to make it useful. Gravity canceled off stage. Okay, wait, don't leave the video yet. Hear me out. This sounds weird, but trust me, it's very powerful. This is going to be the most shameless plug ever, but my Magyar montage from a few years ago is actually a great example of this signature's power. Although I've kept this part a bit short, Magyar's Greatsword signatures shouldn't be underestimated. Going on to Hammer, it's hard to say whether they're better or worse than Greatsword. Insig, I saw some people actually calling one of the worst signatures in the game recently on the Brawlhalla subreddit. Which... why? I mean, using a slide charge is pretty useful on its own, catching people above you in general, and I know y'all aren't forgetting about downlight Insig being true, starting at 0 and going up to, I don't know, barbecue color? I mean, sure, it's not their best hammer signature, but it's far from their worst. Hammer side sig is pretty similar to a Surrey sword side sig in how it plays out, letting you hold it down and travel a far distance to release a powerful hit onto your enemies. If I had to admit, this one isn't as strong as the Surrey's, but I find great power in using it off a platform. If you get a running start, you can actually make some great distance rather than just pressing the button to use the sig. Use that to your advantage and throwing off the enemy. Lastly, we have Hammer Down Sig. What people likely call Magyar's best hammer sig, which they'd be right to an extent. The onstage version I wouldn't call as great since it leaves you quite vulnerable to many attacks from the sides and above you, but the offstage version goes quite a way down with some mighty force, even for a 5-attack legend. Use it right and you'll be getting some of the most gnarly gimps in Valhalla. Overall, both of Magyar's weapons are very fun to mess around with. I can't say one is better than the other, though. It mostly depends on your personal taste. Onto the skins, Magyar does not disappoint. They've gotten new ones over the years, so let's add them to the list and move forward. Default Magyar is in the top 5 skins in the game. There's no argument here. It has the best default weapons any legend has in the game. It's clean, simple, works amazing with color swaps. Absolutely nothing bad about it. And if I hear you dissing it, I know where you live. God tier has Golden Gladiator and Phantom of the Armor Magyar. Both very great skins in terms of everything they offer, but they don't quite beat default Magyar. Pretty good tier has Elven Hollow Magyar. The design is once again amazing, but it doesn't take color swaps quite as well. I love the design though. You know I was hyped whenever they released a spring event Magyar skin. Then an average tier, yes I renamed it from mid tier to average tier, we have Pharaoh King and Forsaken Magyar. I think they're both still really cool and do a great job at showing off a different theme, but the faces definitely throw it off for me. Weapons aren't as great to me either, but you know me, I bought all Magyar skins anyways, even if I was only going to use the same 2 for the rest of time. Overall amazing skins though. Maybe we'll see a new skin for them in Battle Pass Season 10? Only time will tell, I suppose, and I really hope this video doesn't become outdated if that does happen. Tier list wise, out of S, A, B, C, and D, I'd place Magyar in low A tier. Magyar isn't a bad legend by any means. They have some solid sigs, some weapons that can absolutely destroy under the right hands, all that good stuff. The problem is that other Greatsword and Hammer legends are just so much more preferable. Why play Magyar's greatsword when you can have Jaehyun? A Mugi will be tournament legal sometime soon, I'm sure, so why not him either? And why play Magyar's hammer game when Taros is right there? Although in Brawlhalla, almost anything can be viable. I mean, hell, Magyar won a major tournament before. The worst of the worst can achieve anything, and if we're being real, the worst of the worst in this game isn't even that bad. So does Magyar's stat lineup help him or drag him down? 5 attack, 4 dex, 9 defense, and 4 speed. Magyar was the first 9 defense legend we had ever had, stunning the community for a while. Last time we had something like that was with Soul. While the high defense is nice, Magyar's speed falls a bit short, and their strength, while not low, isn't the greatest either. If you run defense stance, you're running 3 speed, but if you run higher on speed, you're running less strength. 6 strength takes down on dex, and dex stance is worthless, as usual. Magyar really got screwed over with their stat changes here. I think the actual stat lineup is okay, but imagine if they had 5 base speed over 4, or imagine if speed took out of defense instead. But for a suit of armor being controlled by hundreds of souls, it makes sense, I suppose. As for their play rate, it's sitting around 1.3% right now, just a little under the average. The fact that they're almost beating a legend like Petra is kind of wild to me. They do have one of the higher win rates though, so do it with that what you will, I suppose. Are people just getting lucky, or are there actually a few dedicated Magyar mains out there that just wipe the floor with them? Likely the latter, but I absolutely love Magyar. Sure, I don't play them as much anymore, but when I do play them, it just feels so clean to absolutely destroy the competition. One of these days, I'll get that Spectral Guardian title. One day. But what are your thoughts on Magyar? Do you think they're overrated or underrated? Is there anything you'd like to see the devs do with Magyar? Let's hear those thoughts down in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed this analysis, subscribe to the channel. It helps out way more than you'd believe, trust me. And until next time, always remember to keep on brawling.